Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 3, where today we are definitely wiping out another entire nation of dwarves. Basically for the crime of just like being in the wrong place. Do I feel bad about it? You know. If we can actually get some friendship going with Tzeentch, I think it'll take a lot of the sting out of it. So we're trending very slightly positive. We need to keep fighting their enemies. They might just be stringing us along, though. They really don't want to give the pact, and that's got me more than a tiny bit worried. I don't know. It's not that I don't trust them completely, but I definitely don't. So, I think we're going to let Henrietta just kind of lag behind for a moment, because she really needs to... She has some troops that still need to heal. I guess that's true of Aranessa as well, but we're going to... There will be no problem here. Granite Massif has an 8-unit garrison. Alright, we're just going to take our free victory. Burn it to the ground? Yeah, I don't want this. This would be somebody else's problem. And, as ever, just encamp at the site of the burning. It is wild that the vampirates are allowed to do that. That feels very powerful. Most factions have to have generally like 25% movement left. What I want to do is like run alongside like here. There we go. So Henrietta is short a unit. And I don't remember if that was for a good reason or not. Let's check the raised dead pool here though. Okay, lots of... It's one of the standard big pools. Can I grab... Out of curiosity, it would be 4 turns for a Necrofex Colossus? That's a shame. I wonder if we should just pass over Aranessa's. Because Aranessa hires them in 1 turn, right? Yeah, I don't remember if I had a plan for that slot in that army. Looks like we are out of interesting things to take here, so we're just kind of taking whatever. And Lottie will still have interesting things to take for quite some time, actually. Do I want to learn Kraken's Paw? I think there's an interesting case here to be made that in most cases where you want to do a ton of damage, Vangeist's Revenge is going to get you there better. But this does have a large area 45% slow, which is not nothing. But I think I'd probably prefer to focus on offensive stats, I guess. So hard to hit becomes 12 melee defense. Is this basically the same? Yeah. That is the same skill. Her defense is not horrible. Oh, let's get Swashbuckler, right. It has the missile resistance tied into it. That's pretty good.
Blood and plunder.
You know what? Go ahead and grab... Yeah, grab this Necrofex.
Oh, praise the sea, father!
And then while Aranessa is stationary for a single turn, she can just hire a new one. We do have access to some of the other top tier units, and like a Rotting Leviathan is certainly something worth considering. It is a very impressive crab monster, but we want to stay mobile here. And the name of the game, if you're trying to stay mobile, is a ship. Apparently, even if that ship has some, you know, weird, dangly, fake crab legs or whatever. Pete is also short a unit. That's right, we need to replace our lost,
Setting sail.
What do you call it? Well, I mean, definitely raid the cove. I'm not afraid of a foe. I'm not afraid of any foe, actually, which is probably why my units keep dying. Perhaps I should be slightly more concerned about all these foes. Alright, let's just get super paid, got ourselves some Armor of the Deep, which is very whatever. A Siren for Robbie Halfmast, which really just seems like taunting him.
The seas are my domain.
And why don't you take a turn to just chill out in a friendly settlement, really get some replenishment on that Necrofex Colossus. And do we have enough? We do. We do have just enough allegiance to replace your missing unit. Seems worthwhile, I think. Here, once again, we're out of interesting things to do. At some point, you just have all the skill points that matter. You know? Okay, you were pushing up the yellow line.
Admiral of the fleet.
I don't remember if Annie was doing anything of particular import. I think we will just hang out in the friendly settlement and heal up.
Captain, reporting.
Wendy's mostly keeping an eye on things. How far are we from... we're still actually quite a ways away from joining in where she is. Well, I certainly don't want to put a cove in Shattered Stone Bay.
Onward.
Let's look over this way a little bit more. So the cooldown's coming off, and I'd like to drop one somewhere, but it's going to be... like, this is going to get conquered over and over and over and over again. It's never going to develop. So it would seem to be a terrible waste. Alright, we probably have lots of building upgrades available with 40,000 gold. And I guess we may as well take all of them.
Undead raiders.
So Tosa got capped out. We are a mere 4 turns away from being able to top off Miragliano, which will be nice. And yeah, the rest of our settlements, we're pretty much just waiting on population. The Black Tower of Archon just has an open space. But I kind of feel like we have all the stuff that's important. And we're like so massively plus control that we're still positive on control even when we're at 100. So I guess just to fill it out. Just to feel like I'm spending my money on something. And then we pass the turn with 10k up. Okay. I am definitely considering, once we're done with this stuff, maybe taking one of these coastal areas and holding it to give us a presence over here. Like, Libaris is not an incredible port, but it'll give us somewhere to sort of bed down, somewhere to take care of things. There really, there aren't a lot of landmarks for this faction. One thing that I've always really liked, I don't know what it is about it that is compelling to me exactly, but I really like the way that the landmark system gives you an incentive to conquer places that make sense for your faction. And I really like it when they're sort of speculative, like they're not just this is a place where this faction has been traditionally, but like this would be an interesting goal for them, or gosh, can you imagine if they conquered this place with its legendary forges, what they might be able to do. And unfortunately, I do feel like we maybe have a bit of a dearth of that kind of stuff. That said, you know, how much more juice does the Vampire Pirate faction really need? Probably not that much. We're pretty powerful as things stand. Did Ikit Claw really just run right up? I guess he must feel he's more powerful than that army. But that seems awfully dangerous, my friend. Just run up next to them and end your turn. Hate to give my opponent information. I would at least like hold back and wait in ambush mode or something. So we are, of course, on a noble quest to sail over here and destroy the Caravan of Blue Roses, a faction which is distinguishable from our own faction mostly by the headgear that they don't wear. Like, we are vampires, just the same as their leaders. We are raising the same kind of undead, and oh hey, Grom the Paunch is properly in control of Musalon. That's good news. It's just like the actual biological difference between these factions is essentially zero. I guess let's knock out Marok, right? And then we'll grab Rasatra. And the reason I want to do it this way is we might be able to completely take out the last defenders on the way. I won't feel safe having a settlement down here if we don't. Oh, that's right. They still have that one. Well, whatever. We can leave them with just that. But yeah, so maybe we kill this, then head southward and scoop up along the coast here. So Thoric Ironbrow has an army. And it's kind of mid-level troops. There's some warriors and some miners, which are low tier. Yeah, basically it's a bunch of units I'm not afraid of. So I think we should be perfectly fine to split these two forces, burn two different settlements this turn, put him in a position where he has no supply lines anymore. Has to figure things out very quickly.
Bring me fire.
And if we leave him nothing of value to take, then all he can do is resettle something at level 1 and hope to be left alone for a good long time.
I want it burned.
A Dawnstone. Interesting. And they just crapped right back to each other.
More bodies washed up.
Interesting. Alright, well, my dude, are you equipped at all? No. We should definitely fix that, but obviously the thing that made me think about that is that Dawnstone. Do you have a weapon? 5846. He doesn't really need the Fencer's Blades. I think I'm better off giving him something that just, like, hits really hard. Just take big chunks out of our enemies. The Kraken Tusk here gives you even more melee attack and Frostbite. But like Dawnstone, right? And then an enchanted item. The healing is certainly not bad. The other Trickster's Shard is pretty bad, I think. The ability to make a friendly unit unbreakable temporarily, I've never found to be all that exciting. The problem really is just that it's hard to keep an enemy, like... The problem with it is if your unit gets to a position where they broke, it's hard to make them unbreakable and then somehow fix the situation by the time the unbreakable buff wears off. Like, they're still going to be in the shit. It's still going to be a nightmare around them. That's the reason they panicked in the first place. So I don't know. I don't think it's fantastic, certainly. All right. Do you have anything left?
I don't have time for...
You do not. All right. Well, that ought to be the end of that then.
Sail the world.
What do I need you to do? We could attack the Wood Elves. Maybe should attack the Wood Elves. But even if I'm doing it, I'm not doing it right now. I'm going to wait until Pete Wakefield's back over here at the very least. Yep, that makes sense. Xandri can have a defensive building, you know, as a treat.
So be it.
Let's see if this elf nation has a decent port running anywhere.
Trained by the White Tower.
Ruin's End is a crummy little thing. We'll continue searching southwest. Oh, this is ready for an upgrade. Fantastic. We're 10 turns away from another Curse of Bountiful Treasure. And yeah, I just don't see Mist. I don't see it being relevant. Alright, unfortunately, our demon friends unable to achieve true victory against the orcs, or the dwarves, rather. I am, of course, the tiniest bit nervous that if we do go after the Wood Elves, like the moment I get myself committed to that fight, all of a sudden, all the elf nations are going to show up on my my west coast.
And risk the wrath of my...
What's up, Queek? Sure. I will take money in exchange for a non-aggression pact. Part of what's going on there is just that his armies are not in a position to be a challenge to my own. Even though he doesn't particularly like us, he sees a lot of immediate value in the promise of us not murdering him. So maybe instead of the Wood Elves, maybe what I should do is sail our remaining troops. Wow, they really did just resettle Resetra. I don't think that's a good play at all. Like, he's got to know what's going to happen. But yeah, maybe we should sail our other two armies just up the west coast and try to help deal with Musalon and the Barrow Whites, or the Barrow Legion rather, because that way we can at least still be responsive when ships sail out from Lothern toward the rest of our stuff. We're like on the correct side of the correct landmass. Although it is a real shame we have no way of traveling south through the mountain range. It wouldn't be as big of a deal given that we have Skaven allies, if you could trust your allies to accomplish anything ever. Okay, I recruited some melee infantry, I guess. Technically.
Get on!
So do we prep to push through the Wood Elf stuff? How are the Wood Elves doing right now? Okay. A thing to consider is that they are defensive pacted with some very large factions. So if we declared war on them, we would also be at war. Those other factions would come to their aid, and all of a sudden we've made the three most powerful enemies on the entirety of the world map.
I'll order it. Get going.
So yeah, maybe what we do is we just take up a more aggressive stance against the
Get shambling!
against the incoming Elven navy.
Swiftly now! The Queen
Alright,
of
still
Time!
gather up and provide a forward force. Henrietta can probably handle this by herself, right? Because the garrison will be
Attack!
the worst units in absolutely terrible shape as they're just starting to build up.
The lust is upon me.
Yes, you can knock out Thoric Ironbrow,
Set it.
burn his entire civilization to the ground, +3 armor-piercing melee weapon damage for the whole army. That's something. 3 points doesn't sound like a lot, but you gotta remember it's 3 points on every body, not just every unit, so...
Where to?
I don't know, I'm not gonna try to snow you into thinking it's great, but it's certainly, like, good. It is, at the very least, totally fine. Alright, may as well finish increasing toughness here. You can't quite run far enough to hit the circle of, or the,
The trap is
what do you
set.
call it? The Temple of Skulls. Wow, none of that's improved ambush terrain, huh? Okay, but this little bit here is. These are fake trees. These will not hide your army. This one might.
The God's victory. It's mine. Captain,
Alright, here's hoping the AI can be trusted to do something deeply foolish.
journeying.
Wow. Alright, the next port is not for some time, it would seem. Yeah, our allies are doing a lot of panicked fleeing from the dwarf armies, And while I don't necessarily have trouble understanding their motivations, I do think that maybe this is not ideal for our plan as a whole, for any kind of control we might want to exercise. Okay, well, Doomglade should be easy enough to take that. Break their armies there while they're trying to recruit. And maybe we can trust Siege to take out the southern city that they have there. I don't really want to be on the hook for running all the way down there if I don't have to be. Only 70 enemy factions, well, 70 factions total, remain. We are definitely running low on the sort of like incidental crummy little map factions. It is pretty much people with people of consequence. Yeah, a lot of big corn factions still kind of roaming the various areas of the world. We're not going to interfere with any of that. The elves have all consolidated, well, the wood elves rather, have all consolidated under one banner, which often does not take this long to do. Musalon must not have very much left. Let's see if we can get a peek. Huh, a protracted period of good weather has given +6 leadership to all of our units, even though that kind of doesn't, you wouldn't think that that would be all that meaningful for us. Vampire counts. So right now, the Barrow Legion is looking pretty strong. Musalon is down to one probably minor settlement, so actually I bet they're going to get taken out fairly soon.
The galleon awaits.
I should make sure we're upgrading this too. I kind of forgot we'd even taken this.
The waves. Sails up.
Admiral of the fleet. Sails up.
All right, everybody just get up on land. Get ready to play a little bit of defense. It would actually be kind of nice to own Nucha, but just, again, for the speed of units getting into the water. But if our Skaven allies want to take it over, I'm not going to squawk about that too loudly.
A done deal.
All right, before we do anything else, let's check in with Amadeus here. I just cannot make it work. I can't even get close enough to be able to buy the deal.
Plunder.
That's pretty unfortunate.
Attack.
Okay, I was expecting to have to get the second army in here, but you know, as much as they do have a large number of units, it's a lot of like skink cohorts and individual large dinosaur groups, which are not so good against the rifle army.
Set it ablaze. Scales and salt.
That said, gosh, Aranessa sure is losing, or well, almost
Who are
losing
restless.
troops pretty much everywhere.
Now we're talking.
Okay, yeah, let's take a level of Mentor, which matters at least a little bit on a Gunnery White. And that's right, Swashbuckler.
Pistols ready. On land. Time to move.
Well, Bitter Bay is a small place without much in the way of
Swashbuckler. Get
money-making
going.
buildings, so that's unexciting. And we're probably not actually likely to see another coastal structure. Yeah, bummer. All right, well, we're definitely not going to be able to make much money off of that situation. All right, so we got to pay attention in Tilia. Next turn, we have the population. It would be nice to have the money as well. But I guess we'll just have to see. So I'm not going to spend anything else this turn. And then I'm going to briefly pause the video. Sorry, y'all. A real life thing. I'm going to be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. Yar or whatever. Let's let this run. I do notice, though, this is important. The Big Dwarf faction and the Wood Elves now have a military alliance, not just a defensive alliance, which means that they will follow each other into war on war declarations, not just when one of them gets attacked. So the fact that the Wood Elves are very angry at us is probably a bad thing. It's probably going to be a bad thing, like, pretty soon, would be my guess. We do not need to be at war with both of them and also Eataine at the same time. Oh, interesting. Eatainian ships are... I wonder if they're going to disrupt Gram the Paunch from finishing off Musalon. I mean, they might finish off Musalon themselves, but in my experience, what they usually do is they interfere. They jump in the way when someone's trying to finish someone else off. Which, if you think about it, is probably a good it's a good behavior for your AIs to have, in the sense that it can create interesting comebacks. Like, it's a cool long-term narrative behavior. A little worried about the fact that the Caravan of Black Roses is still showing up as being more powerful than my faction, because we only brought half of our army to go fight them. All of the characters in these armies, at least, are immortal, but if we did lose the armies, it would be annoying for sure. Okay, Sword of Cain has been claimed by another lizard man. I think a lizard man had it before, right?
The sea knows my fate.
So we want to defend Bilbali, but there are
I cannot rewrite reality.
high elves in my ocean.
No prey, no pay. All above board.
Oh, and it looks like we can catch you. Well, do we want to turn around and bring Annie back for the XP? We probably do. Annie's army needs XP really badly.
The galleon awaits.
Yeah, like Annie herself is not even at
All above board.
So
Immortal level yet. Pete needs to babysit in a very serious way here.
Cleanse them of life.
All right, Pete, go cleanse them of life.
Attack the curse.
What do we have here?
This is absurd.
Oh, that's barely even an army. What a strange composition. It's like a bunch of spearmen and then 5 dragons. And how did they... What was their plan?
The dead will fight.
I guess against people who are really not prepared, this army could win some battles through the brute force of and then 5 dragons. But it feels... I don't know. That feels questionable strategically.
The has spoken.
Okay, lots of important stuff going on here. Arcane Conduit, big deal. You get Pyromaniac, and you are rapidly pressing toward immortality, also a big deal. Foe Seeker. Foe Seeker matters a bunch. This is a very good ability. It's like half the time you just have 25% bonus speed.
Darkness comes.
Pete is getting pretty close to being maxed out, so we are not going to be able to get Hornswoggle, right? Because it's 2 more points in this thing. Taking us to level 47 will get us Taunt. And then 48, 49, and 50 would all disappear into this box. So we're not going to get Hornswoggle. But we are going to get Taunt at least, and that's worthwhile. And I don't know what we'll take after that. So if we don't know what we're taking after Taunt, does it make sense to go for, like, assuming we do not want to cast any more points in here, which may well be true. Does it make more sense to get the HP? So that's 8 points. This is a point of 7 and then a point of 8. But part of the deal is we're getting taunt, right? So or do we just want the weapon damage? Because in the end, it's going to be pretty significant. 60 extra weapon damage per attack. You got to survive. And a hero on a large mount is always going to be a little bit more in danger than you think.
Blood kiss of distance. Plotting a course.
Admiral of the
All right,
fleet.
and this is all friendly territory, so
Speak to the wind.
we can sail at full speed and still heal.
I hate the heat.
All right, how you feeling? We good now? No, we're still not good. And I still can't even afford to balance the offer. If this button, if we had enough gold to push them over, this button would be lit up. Okay. Congratulations. I also will see the meeting in hindsight. And I guess you could say I foresaw it. I definitely knew I was going to click the button. So the Temple of Skulls doesn't really have an army.
Crew, to me!
Aranessa could get there and most of the way back pretty fast. And maybe we just send Henrietta north to settle Liberis. We'll figure stuff out from there. I think that's okay. I'm not expecting this faction. Do we see any? No, we see no reason to think they have any army at all.
Aranessa salt spite.
It could be the case that okay, this is under siege even. So there's absolutely no value in me going down there.
No straggling.
Well, that being the case, you just charge forward because you're not even missing any HP, and I guess y'all can just kind of stay close together.
Bags.
I can't reach Liberis this turn anyway, so.
By hook or sword, they'll fall.
So.
Duel to the death.
Yeah, there just isn't a good spot over here. It may be the case that we just don't want to do a... Well, this has a couple of money-making structures, and it's probably going to stick around for a while unless I have to personally destroy it. But, you know, I probably want to just ram this this large amount of money we have here into finally upgrading Miragliano. Okay. Lots of moderately important stuff still to get done. Yeah, we still really need to go get the Galleon's Graveyard, and I am... Honestly, I'm not expecting them to have defended it, like, almost at all. I imagine we'll be able to just walk right in. After we've taken it, on the other hand, I suspect there may be some retaliation. Some bad things might occur. Can't tell. Are you trying to attack Bilbali, or what the hell are you doing?
My scurvy crew tell me you come too often.
Military alliance? Nope. 5,000 gold, not good enough. There probably is a number that I would do it for. I don't know what that number is. But I can tell you it ain't 5K. So Magritta has a large enough building base that we can put up decent structures here. The replenishment building, like it should serve as a forward, but not too far forward base of operations for us. And it seems like the elves are probably not going to attack it at all because of the fact that the Skaven have now settled between us and them. They're just going to wander in a daze around Bilbali, trying to figure out what to do with it. And, you know, it's probably to our benefit to stop that. In Lucini, there is flooding. Okay, that's not a big deal. We'll be fine.
Vampire of the waves. Plotting a course.
Right, into friendly territory. One of the main benefits of a proper alliance, defensive or military, is the fact that your allies' territory counts as your own territory for the purposes of whether or not you can heal. Always fantastic. Always a wonderful thing.
Yes? We should act now.
I feel like you have this under control. We don't need Aranessa for this part.
It's time to tame the cattle. This is pirate land. Undead raiders.
Alright. Best we just get a little bit of a cove going here.
Bring them back. Onwards.
We'll stay together for the moment because I can't reach Lamia anyway, but yeah, it should be pretty easy to get Lamia next turn. And we're just going to leave a lot of it open. Temple of Skulls is all yours. Well, 0.6 now. Only negative 0.6. We're getting there. What would the cost be here? 37.80? All right.
Indeed.
I'm going to stay nearby, but let's try to get a little bit of visual here.
Loyal to a fault.
See if we can figure out exactly what is going on in that area. So now that we have Gunsight, which is pretty fucking good, do we want to push Blunderbuss? Probably, right? That's a pretty good skill. And then we'll probably get a little bit more of the yellow stuff for her as well. Here in Liberis, I was going to build that thing, but instead we'll build money structure. We'll make the garrison thing afterward.
Ignore my crew. They are hungry.
No, absolutely not. 3,000 gold is not enough to get me to do that. So I'm a little worried that we're just never going to be able to get this relationship going with Tzeentch, and that they are then going to turn on us at some point afterward. I would really, really, really like to begin the formal process of making friends. Oh, here's Eltharion. Oh, Krakagar, something tells me that that's not going to work, friend. I don't think you're going to have time to put an army together there. What on earth is this Skaven army even doing? It is so hard to rely on. Like, it's one thing if you're fighting kind of like in and around a faction's territory. But it is so difficult to get an AI faction that is allied with you to provide any kind of meaningful support. If there's any obstacles between you and their buildings at all, this northern area, we're not going to be able to rely on the Skaven for absolutely anything. Also, gosh, it seems like there are a lot of factions that are like right on the edge of being eliminated. And just nobody is finishing them off. Okay, Winds of Power reserves up for everyone everywhere. Go get you some magical murder, they say. I don't think it's a terrible plan. Alright, so we're at the point where we are definitely just like scraping the bottom of the barrel. Sure, bonus versus infantry. If the enemy actually moves up on us and is able to attack us, let's have some kind of plan.
The Queen of Tides! Yes, the winds blow true!
Alright, we definitely need to knock this over before Krukgar has a chance to do anything. And I'm not even going to send
For war and
the other army over here. I'm just going to burn this down and bail out.
burn it!
That's a fair amount of cash. Okay, plus 10 personal melee defense is not terrible for one of those
Thus as most infamous!
traits.
More bodies washed up.
For eternity.
So it looks like Pete actually... Oh no, that was only in March mode.
By your will.
I was going to say, Pete might actually be able to attack them,
It is your decision.
which sure would be helpful. What we'd really like is for these people to come ashore. So I'm thinking maybe what we do is... Oh, I'm too close to that city, right. Maybe what we want to do is run forward into the trees here. Right, because, yeah, in the open we have a 45% ambush success chance. In the trees we have a base 70.
Waylaying.
I have sailed the world.
Try to make both of our armies invisible, see if they come ashore to disrupt our allies, and then we just jump them. You're not doing anything until Aranessa is available.
Avast.
Actually, this is probably a good time to go. There we go. Only 10,000 gold to bribe them into taking the most basic contracts with me, but I think it's worthwhile. I'm going to get the Purple Sun over Fate of Buna, even though I think Fate of Buna might be better, just because the Purple Sun is more fun. That's really all it takes. One thing I'm a little worried about with establishing a Pirate Cove here is that I might have to knock this over myself. If Imric declares war on us while we're over here fighting vampires, this is going to end up looking like a lot of wasted money. So Magritta's going to have an open spot next turn. Maragliano's going to upgrade very, very slowly. I can probably just... I'm just going to do it.
We'll send a message.
Let's get all of this underworld infrastructure in place. I'm not sure what it is she's doing. She just brings a sort of a gray market kit with her and slams it into place. So I think we want 50% of their income. That's gonna be way better than 200, right? 242 in practice. Yeah, 300 plus 200 plus 300. So yeah, it's better for sure. It's a little expensive, but... What is gold for, if not to provide you with opportunities to gain even more gold? Right? Alright, here's hoping that my ambush plan is sufficient to trick an elf. Elven units have a history of excellence, a reputation. Really? Okay, so the Oracles of Tzeentch have attacked the Exiles of Khorne. I either have to go to war on the side of the Exiles of Khorne and blow my newly established thing, or I need to break my alliance. I think in either case, this is going to hurt our credibility because we're violating the non-aggression pact. If we go with our ally and we're violating the alliance, if we go the other way, I'm going to decline and break the alliance. If we're screwed either way on reliability, the oracles are a much greater danger to us than the exiles. Also, I don't know that the exiles... well, I was going to say, I'm not even sure if they dislike us, it seems like. I mean, we may have just gotten away with that kind of for free. They don't have time to have more enemies right now. But I don't know. That might not actually be reliable. The face was still green, but also... I'll feel more confident that it's correct if we see it on our own turn. So it looks like these elves are content to just sail around south. I wonder if they're going to Magritta or if they're planning to go more toward Sartosa. Or hell, even the desert. It won't matter as much as they are skilled sailors. There's no way they can get away from us. And they're not traveling close enough together to be to reinforce each other, which is a bit of foolishness on their part. It's a thing that the AI does a lot, I notice. They only really think about reinforcement range when it's time to be actually fighting. All right, it's true. I did lose that ally or that outpost. They saw through Annie's excellent ambush.
On the double! Prepare my coffin.
Admiral of the fleet. Move, you spineless bags. Overland.
I'm gonna have Pete stay in ambush mode. We'll see what we can catch the enemies doing something silly. Something a little bit counterproductive, perhaps. All right, I think it makes the most sense for us to now get in the water. Wow, the cursor and what the game thinks my mouse position are have desynced so badly. How does that happen?
Salt water. Full sails.
Realized I hadn't bothered to put myself in full speed mode yet.
My compass.
Get shambling! Get moving!
Okay, shouldn't be too long before we are on the scene. And your only job now is to get back over here and keep an eye on what's up. We have managed to increase our income quite significantly, like where we can now run all these full armies and still have 1,800 gold per turn coming in. It's not an amazing amount, but what are we looking at in terms of total settlements for you now? 8. Okay. Musalon is on 1 and basically like zeroed out on strength, so I'm hoping we can just see them fall soon.
Sea dog!
Magritta should probably go first. We don't have a growth building. This place is going to grow really slowly with that one, so let's do this extremely grim thing, and then yeah, technically we can establish some stuff. I don't think that necessarily know that's what we want to be spending our money on right now. I did not check our relationship with the Exiles of Khorne. If I'm honest, I sort of just don't care. Even if they are like completely soured on us, which would make a lot of sense. I just don't. They don't have the strength to make me be concerned about that. All right. Well, they're definitely not going to fall for our forces in the north looking slightly weaker. We'll just chase them down. What are you, Ikit? Where are you going? Useless. AI allies are they're borderline useless in the defense of your or even their own territory. We could try to do a little bit of backseating on their strategic capabilities by issuing attack requests on the buildings that I think they should be focusing on, but it's not where I want to be. I have things to do. And also, I'd like to be able to hire some of their units. It's not a good... having to direct their attack every turn is not a good use of your allegiance. Alright, a rival band of pirates have requested access to some of our coves. Is the Smuggler's Cove the building we have? Whatever. Alright.
The sea knows
I realized partway through the question that I kind of don't care what the answer is.
Shall be done.
Yeah, more powder monkey. So I can't really attack this thing.
Landfolk are weak.
I can ride Annie out to attack it, but they're not in march mode, so it's just going to run away.
On the double.
no prey, no pay.
Do I think they would attack me?
Get moving.
I guess let's find out.
Rajon!
Also, they did stay close enough for the,
Beyond even Quaish. I have sailed the world.
yeah, they did stay close enough for the reinforcement this time, so it's probably good that we didn't just charge at them out of the dark.
The crew are restless. Keelhauls!
The tides!
Alright, sadly, lots of long turns of sailing.
Catch those winds! Sea Father, guide me.
Hey, look, it's Helm Gorst. Oh, I'm in, yeah, that's right, I'm in full sail mode. I can't interact with treasure stuff.
On course.
So, Helm Gorst's army is not very impressive, mostly just absolutely horrible units. Does have an awful lot of Grave Guard, which are decent. I don't think the Great Weapon Grave Guard are necessarily like the best use of them.
On land.
But if you're fighting an army like the like Nurgle, where you're looking at a lot of big monsters and you're not looking at so much ranged combat, I can see how it makes sense to use them over the Sword and Shield variant. How long until... Okay, 3 more. 3 more turns until we can do the other thing and just get some free money. Sadly... I don't know. I guess build up the ability for units in the area to call for cannon fire, but... The thing we do with the building slots in that settlement is probably not actually terribly meaningful in the long run. Wow, okay. All of a sudden, they love making treaties with me. That betrayal may have been worth a fair amount of approval points, you know? Alright, when the elves show up, they tend to show up in waves, huh? Well, I don't think it should be a problem for us to make it back to Magrita. They're making it a 40 versus 40 fight, but it's still on the ocean. Also, it's not actually 40. Their units are a little bit short. Ikit Claw ending his turn right there means that he will show up to defensive battles for Magritta. So that's actually really good. I don't think that he was trying to do that based on the direction of his plan. I think what he was actually doing was just going for the bridge to cross the river. But this will work just fine for us. And it looks like the Bear Legion is maybe actually going to defeat the Empire? That would be fun. So it seems like they're kind of falling back, consolidating their position a little bit in the face of all of a sudden, here's a new faction. And I have no idea how successful this is going to be, because it's going to be at least another turn. I don't think we can attack Shattered Stone Bay this turn under any circumstances. So they are going to get the time they need to sort of settle up. Oh, the Sword of Cain changed hands and is now held by a Dark Elf, which may be good for us in the long run.
Even the Lawmaster could not.
There's some kind of sea storm. Yeah. Well, we could definitely reach them with normal movement from Pete, so... Yeah, I think there's going to be an awful lot of blood spilled in the very near future, but maybe this second, right now, isn't the best second for it. I think that is going to have to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, there's an awful lot of high-stakes naval combat to be engaged in. And I don't think it's impossible that we get overwhelmed here. This may turn out to have been a terrible idea. I guess we'll find out, and so will you if you come back next time. We'll see you then.